Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Elisa Sklar. I am the VP of Marketing here at GIS Planning, and we are very pleased to have you all joining us here today. We thank you for taking time out of your busy days. I am here today with Josh Wright from Emsi. Hello, Josh.
Hello, thank you for having me.
We are delighted to have you here. And also Pablo Monzon, the Managing Director for GIS Planning. Hello, Pablo.
Hi, everybody.
Now, at GIS Planning, one of the things that we really pride ourselves on is this constant push to innovation. And after 20 years producing site selection tools and using online data in different ways, this addition of the Emsi data to our tool is just really one more way that we are able to offer you the best of this kind of technology. And so we're very pleased actually to be able to do that. Now, I did want to then pass this over to Josh, and what he is going to be doing is walking you through the different aspects of the data and talking about how that actually might be beneficial to you and work in terms of the things that you're going to be doing here today. I just want to say a couple words about Josh himself. Joshua Wright is the Executive Vice President of Community Insights at Emsi, a labor market analytics firm. He leads a team whose focus is to help communities prosper with unparalleled data, training, and strategies. Josh regularly writes and presents on data best practices and emerging trends in economic and workforce development. He's a former journalist who enjoys living in the Pacific Northwest with his wife and 3 kids and loves reading, running road races, and playing tennis. And so what I'm going to do then, Josh, is pass this over to you. You should be able to get a little box on your screen then that allows you to show your screen. And you might just need to click show screen on your side. There we go. We can see it. That's perfect. Thank you.
Perfect. Great. Well, thank you for that introduction, Elisa, and thank you for this opportunity. It's a pleasure to be with you all. I want to walk through a little bit about who Emsi is and what we're all about, and then get into the data that we've partnered with with GIS Planning and to put into ZoomProspector, and then I'll hand it over to Pablo to go into more, and we can have a discussion from there. Just really quickly about Emsi, our mission is to inform and connect people, educators, and employers, and we do this through providing labor market insights about regional economies. And of course, when we think of a regional economy, we think of at least I think of the economic developers, all of you out there who are pushing really hard to further, to support your business, local businesses, bring in new business investment, and all the rest. So similar to GIS Planning, Emsi has been around for close to 20 years. We're not quite at the 20-year mark like GIS Planning is, but we've been providing this data for a long time. And in economic development, we serve different clients through software services and consulting to help them market their workforce, again, support existing businesses. Talent attraction is a bigger thing for us over the last few years that we've been doing and supporting our clients with. We also do a lot around economic impacts, industry supply chain analysis, cluster analysis, that type of a thing, both with our economists and through our data software. We work with over 350 organizations in providing that data and software and consulting. And we also work more and more with, in addition to educators, hundreds of colleges and universities and workforce developers, we also work more and more with Fortune 500 companies. And I mention that because the insights that we are gleaning from the intelligence we're getting from the companies is really help fueling our innovation to put that data back to economic developers to say, this is the type of data that's resonating. And hopefully we can get to that a little bit more later on. Now moving on to our data and what you'll see in ZoomProspector and what Pablo is going to talk about. At Emsi, we focus on 3 primary types of data. Structural, what we call structural or standard or traditional labor market data from government sources. So think of federal and state sources like the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and each individual state has a labor market agency that produces that data and works with the federal the counterparts of the federal agencies. So we're looking at all of that data on industries and occupations, and we'll touch on that here in a bit. We also are culling and curating hundreds of millions of job postings from publicly available job boards, from internet company sites that are posting their jobs online, and we're able to get very detailed information on job titles and skills that employers are demanding. So we get intelligence from that as well. And then we're doing a lot of parsing of resumes and LinkedIn profiles and other similar profile analytics to be able to look at the supply side. What are people, the talent, saying that kind of job titles and skills and industries and companies and colleges that they go to. So that's just a little bit of broader context of the type of data that we specialize in and supply to our clients. Specifically in our partnership with GIS Planning over the last few months and really getting going here at the start of the year, we wanted to look at specific, more broader trends for occupations and industry, both the county and the zip code level. So I want to talk a little bit about what we do to get down to that zip code level data and why it's valuable, and then I'm going to hand it over to Pablo. So as I mentioned earlier, we're bringing together many different types of data, and with this core government data that we're looking at, we bring our philosophy is integrated and melded together data sets are always stronger in unison than they are in isolation. And I say that because every single data set, data program from the BLS or the Census Bureau, whether it's the American Community Survey from the Census, or whether it's the occupational employment statistics from the BLS, they all have strengths, but they all have weaknesses when looked at by themselves. And so Emsi, for close to the last 20 years, have been combining these data sets to accentuate the strengths and try to mitigate the weaknesses. Also make our clients aware of all these, the limitations of all these data so that they can be educated in how to use it. When we're talking specifically about going, geographic detail, one thing that we've heard consistently from our clients is that county level information is helpful for economic developers who are, might be, get an RFI from a business or want to market their workforce. County level information or MSA level information is helpful. It's generally what you're going to find if you go straight to a government site. But what's even more helpful is being able to go down to the zip code, the census block, the city level data. And there's precious little of those data sets available out there, out in the wild. But what we're able to do by bringing these different data sets together is be able to go down to the zip code level in a way that allows us to get very granular with occupations and industry data, job counts, earnings, things like that you will be able to see at inside ZoomProspector. So our goal is to create a really comprehensive set of labor market data by looking at dozens of publicly available labor market sets, and then also proprietary sets of information like job postings and profiles, and be able to give insight on the available talent around a specific address of a facility you're trying to market. If you need to look at talent pipeline of what kind of workers are coming in to a labor force, or how many exist currently, and doing that in whether it's a 30-mile radius or whether it's approximating a city with a set of zip codes. That's what we're trying to do with this data, and what I think is going to be valuable for ZoomProspector clients as well. So with that, here's my contact information if you have any questions more about that Emsi data, but I'm going to hand it over now to Pablo.
Great, thank you so much, Josh. I really appreciate that. We can also include your contact information in the follow-up email with the video link so people can do that way. So Pablo, I have passed the presentation baton over to you. There we go. We can see your screen. That's perfect. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Josh. So this is I want to show today the South Carolina Power Team application. This was just launched a week ago, and it is the second client that basically uses Emsi data for GIS planning, and we're very happy to have this partnership. And I want to show you a few things. I want to show you how you can get the Emsi data and how you can work with it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select a random property. And once you select a property, you can see the property report. And we have all the report that we provide, but the new one is the Emsi data. So when you click on it, you can see the jobs by occupation, and you can see the median earnings by occupation. So you have those two. And the way we did it is we want to make it interactive. So basically, I can go here and say, you know, that's 10 miles, but I can change the distance to whatever I want. So let's say that I want 53 miles. So then you see like all the numbers change in a second, right? And all the wages change in a second. So you can do that at radius analysis and basically change the distance to whatever you want. Better than that, you can also do dry time analysis. So I can just do 30 minutes or 60 minutes or 55 minutes or something, and then basically it can just give you the same data by dry time. Okay, and then that's one thing. Okay, the second thing you can do, so here we have the dry time. So basically give you the jobs by occupation and the earnings by occupation. All of this is by zip code. But what we are doing is we are aggregating the data based on the zip codes that intersect the polygon or the radius, basically. Okay. The other new thing that we did is you can actually solve it. So there's a lot of occupations here, right? So, I mean, you have in this 30 miles a lot of occupations, but the new thing is we can also solve the data. So let's say they solve from maximum to minimum. So you can see in that area, office and support occupations is number 1, and production is number 2 with 20,000, and sales is number 3 with 50,000. But let's say what happens, you know, if we increase the radius to 50 miles, you know what I mean? Then food preparation was number 2, you know what I mean? So I'm trying to maybe attract a food business. Maybe I will do the analysis in 60 miles because then food is number 2 with 68,000. So you can see how it's very interactive. As you move this, then you can see how the numbers change. Same thing with the wages, you know what I mean? Like you can see how the numbers change as you go from smaller to a bigger radius. Even better than that, you can also map it. So let's say that you are interested in sales and related occupation, then you can turn that on, and then you can see the heat map for how many sales and related occupation are in that area. So you can click on it, and then it's interactive too. You can actually click to get the number. Okay, so you can map any of the occupations, and then you can also map any of the wages. So if I am business and financial occupations, then I can map them and I can see, you know, concentration of higher wages around, you know, this area. Basically, you can see, you know what I mean? You can basically zoom around and see which areas. And then you can make a point. You can say, you know, we're cheaper, we're more expensive, we have more jobs, you know what I mean? But basically, whatever you want to do for your area. Okay, and better than that, let's say that you do this report and somebody's asking you for this report, you can share it. So you can share it in social media, you can share it in LinkedIn. So I can just send this to Alisa in LinkedIn. You can put wage data for business occupations. So I can send that to Alisa, and then when she click on that, I can send also the link by email. And when you send that, then you know you can click on it, and then you got exactly to the same report and to the same map. So that's the beauty of it. You can actually share the data and share the map. So you can create a map with number of jobs, with wages, and for a specific distance. And then you can actually share that map with anyone in the world by sending an email. As opposed to send like an old PDF or something, then basically you are sending them a link. And what the beauty of that is when they click on the link, they're back to your website. So then they can just look at the other data. So they see like, oh, this is interesting, but I also want to see, I need engineers too. So let's see engineers. So basically they can just change to whatever layer they want and map it. Everything is by zip code, but we aggregate the data based on a radius or a dry time. The next question is, what about if I don't have a property? And somebody's asking me, is building a project and they want to know, you know, the number of jobs for a specific area. Well, you can do that. So in our tool, we have a pinpoint tool that you can actually go and select any area. So let's say that somebody is asking you for the intersection around 77 and 26. And select a pinpoint, apply. And now I have all my reports that we provide. One of them is the Emsi data. And then I can do the same analysis. And again, I can change it to any distance I want. And I can do the same analysis for a random pinpoint, basically. And you can basically see the data and then map it too. Okay? And send it to a client too. So you can do the analysis for a property. You can do the analysis for a random location too. Okay? And then for that area, you can also sort it and see, okay, in that area, let's see which one is number 1, office is number 1, sales is 2, food is 3. But again, you can change it and see, you know, how the order change based on a different area. Okay, so it's very interactive, and that we're very proud to be. I mean, to take the data and basically use it in a very interactive way, because you know, you guys are very smart. You need the data for different analysis for different projects. So we want to give you the flexibility to use it in basically in any way that helps you. Okay, so use a couple more things. Remember that you can make the map bigger. So if you want a bigger map to work and look at all the occupation, you can expand the map. If you want also to look at the map with other layers, you can always do that. So you can see jobs and other layers at the same time, right? So there's many things you can do here, and you can still interact with the rest of the data. Any questions?
Yes, we actually do have a question here. So Winona wants to know if the jobs data is being shown by 2 or 4-digit NAICS code in your examples.
Okay, so in this example, the answer is in this example, it's all 2 digits occupation code. So when you go here, these are the 2-level occupations. So you can see all of them. It's like 23 occupations. Emsi offered the option for all clients to choose between 2 and 4. So we can do it either way. So that's the answer. You can choose between 2 digits or 4 digits.
Okay, great. Thank you. And I guess this is a question for you, Josh. What kinds of data points are you seeing companies clamoring for? What are they looking for?
Yeah, and I'm glad you asked that, because it's something I hinted at earlier. Really when we're working with either the HR teams at companies or what's kind of the emerging groups inside companies, the people analytics groups that blends data science and HR, or just their talent acquisition or recruiting teams, what we're seeing is some of the really core metrics that this type of data can answer is very valuable. So supply and demand and compensation, the core kind of key parts of a labor market and efficiency inside a regional economy. What's the wage data look like, and it's great to see that here inside the ZoomProspector. What's the demand look like in terms of total number of workers, and the jobs, and what's in terms of also how that compares to the supply. So the supply as in the number of workers here that you're showing, and demand in terms of like postings or job openings. And those are the core things that our companies are really clamoring for. And then all their kind of ancillary data around those metrics. The educational completions data is very valuable. Any kind of data on unemployment and underemployment, and I know some of the SE Power team has also worked on that side of things as well, knowing the kind of the underemployment study that they commissioned for that. So those are really big data points, and we've done a lot of best practices around that, because we both seeing what companies and site select. We also work with a lot of site selectors and using our data. So we hear from that a lot. We've got a recent blog post on our blog about all of these kind of data and how to visualize them, if you're interested in that. So yeah, those are the core things.
Excellent. Okay, yeah, those are important things to consider. I mean, ultimately, the users of these tools on your website are the site selectors or businesses making location decisions. So it's always helpful to get some insight into what their priorities are. It's very good to know. Another question is, what why is it so powerful to go beyond the county level data and drill down into zip codes and deeper geographies when it comes to labor data?
Yeah, and I can take a step at that really quickly. I think what Pablo has shown here is that, you know, being able to do a radius from address and a drive time is really, you know, it's not nearly as powerful if you are restricted to county or political boundaries, because there isn't that flexibility there in terms of getting an estimate of the labor pool. And being able to do that in a platform like this and being able to pull back very specific data and be able to visualize that in a powerful way for companies in their site selection process is powerful, because it's otherwise just not as helpful if you have to stick to, well, you know, for example, if a company is either right in the middle of a county boundary or at the edge and they need to go into another county, they might not be able to, you know, if they hovering between two counties and they know that maybe they're on the far southern side and they won't be able to draw a talent from the far northern side. What is that estimate around a 30-minute drive time or a 45-minute drive time? That's where that zip code data can be really powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, clearly business doesn't respect those kind of artificial political boundaries. People and business and flow of goods move back and forth across them all the time. And I think your point, Josh, also cuts to the critical element of granularity, you know, that you need to, when you're making multi-million-dollar business decisions, you want to be able to look at both a regional level, but then especially when it comes to occupations, really drill down and see what's going to be, what you're going to be drawing from right around the properties that are under consideration.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, here's another example. Like, for example, like I see here the zip codes data. You can see, like, I tune out off on business and financial occupations. And let's say that I want, one of my requirements is I want to be, you know, next to an airport, and I want to have a lot of business people. Then, you know, by just looking at the map, I tune the layer on of where the airports are, and I'm seeing like a concentration around here. You know what I mean? So maybe this is the area I want to be. You know what I mean? So you can also decide between, you know what I mean, as opposed to you see the city data as a whole, you can actually, because, you know, the zip code is color code based on the number, you can see, okay, it seems like a concentration in this area, you know, that's Charleston, right? But you can see it by zip code. So you can see, okay, maybe the area I want to be is, you know, I have an airport here, I have a lot of business people around that airport too. So maybe, you know what I mean, maybe that's where I want to be. So I think the power of seeing the data by zip code and see within a city or within a region where you have a concentration, and also being able to put that with different layers, you know what I mean? Then you can basically help your client decide, okay, this is the area. And you can do the map, like I'm doing the map here. So the same way, you can do the map that you think will prove your point with the Emsi data and with the layers that you already have. And then once you make your case, you can send this map to the client, right? So that's what I see the power too.
Yeah, absolutely. And being able to make this data visual is so critical, because these is complex numbers and, you know, long lists that we have in front of us. So being able to actually turn one or more of the categories on or off and see how they actually get heat mapped across the geography makes it possible to visualize that. Very powerful for including in presentations, for if you're going to a trade show or a trade mission and you want to be able to show actually what that looks like. The visualization is really very, very powerful. And as Pablo said, being able to combine it with other kinds of layers in there so you can see simultaneously answer, you know, a multivariate question, I think is very, very useful, very powerful.
And the other thing is, I mean, I encourage people to use links and email links, but if you, let's say that you have a proposal and you still want a PDF, you can also still put in the PDF with the data, you know what I mean, and send it to the client. So we still have the PDF tool, use another way to do it. You know what I mean? So basically, you can still do that as well.
You can choose the option you want and, of course, modify it by radius. I don't see any other questions coming in. Josh or Pablo, is there anything else that you wanted to add about this data and its integration in ZoomProspector?
Well, I just want to say that, I mean, Emsi make this really like affordable for all customers who are using already ZoomProspector Enterprise to include that data. So we appreciate the partnership and, you know, the fact that they allow us to do it with a very affordable price is really good. The second thing, this is already developed, so if you want it on your website, you just have to contact us, and basically it takes a few minutes to turn it on. So basically, it can be in your website today if that's what you want. And yeah, and basically just let us know.
Excellent. Okay, I have actually another question's just come in. I don't see the data the same way you were showing it. Do I need to ask for an upgrade? So Darlene, unless we've turned it on your ZoomProspector, it's not there. So this is an additional subscription through Emsi. We try, thanks to our partnership with Emsi, can really make it very affordable. It depends on the size of your geography. It can start, for less than $100 a month, depending on the size of your community. We're very happy to reach out to Darlene and provide that information after today's webinar if you're interested. But it isn't built into the tool right off the bat.
Yeah, but I think the question, I don't know if the question is related also to, this is all for those who don't have this yet. This is all new viewers. So this is all new interface for ZoomProspector Enterprise. If you do have the old one and you're a full client, you can upgrade it for free. So basically, if you like this interface, I didn't go into detail with how it works, but we're happy to give you a demo, right, if you want to. But this new interface for ZoomProspector Enterprise is available for free to all of our existing clients that are full clients. You know what I mean? So if you don't have this yet, but you are a full client, just contact us and then you can have this immediately as well. So just let us know.
Yeah, thank you, Pablo. I maybe have misunderstood her question. You're quite right that what we're showing now is the brand new SC Power Team site, which is using the new version of ZoomProspector. And if you're an existing client, as Pablo says, and you want to upgrade, then you can, I have on the screen right now, Jeff Sunnison from Client Services. You can reach out to him and he will help you. It's quite easy to do. We've already built everything, so we can move you over and then also show you what the new features are, because there's a lot of really powerful new features and functionality. If you are not a current client and you're interested in ZoomProspector, you're interested in learning more about integrating the Emsi data into that, then you can reach out to Russ Riblett, our Director of Sales, and his contact information is also on the screen here. I think that takes us to the end of our questions here, unless there's anything else that you would like to add, Josh and Pablo?
No, I think that's it. Thank you. My email is you can email support and I will receive the email. If you have any questions, I will be happy to do that.
Great. Thank you very much. Thank you, Josh, and thank you, Pablo, for your time today.
Yeah, thank you all. Appreciate it.
And thank you all for taking time out of your busy days to join us here. You will be hearing from us within the next day with a link to the video here. And of course, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. I wish you all a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks.